Welcome to this week's video presentation series. In play number 1, we're going to have a fourth down scrimmage kick play in which the kicking team is going to be called for an illegal formation with 5 players lined up in the backfield. So the receiving team has an option here on the penalty enforcement to either have the 5 yards tacked on to the dead ball spot, and it would be 1st and 10 for the receiving team, or to penalize from the previous spot, and in this case it would be 5 yards from the previous spot to replay 4th down, which is what the receiving team chooses to do, is penalize from the previous spot and have K replay 4th down. And then the next play, we're going to have the receiving team block the punt and recover it in the end zone for a touchdown. The linesman's going to throw the flag for the illegal formation, and the ball is going to be downed by the kicking team. But the receiving team chooses to penalize previous spot. Now we're going to have a block kick into the end zone for the opponents. The receiving team recovers it in K's end zone, resulting in a touchdown. Good job by the officiating crew, penalizing correctly and ruling on the touchdown correctly. In play number 2, we're going to have a free kick. And remember, on a free kick, the kicking team must have at least 4 players on each side of the person who kicks the football. Now, it does appear that the kicking team does meet this requirement, but just something to be aware of on these bunch kick formations that these teams are now doing. And another thing to look at on this play, remember the game clock will start by rule when the ball is touched by the receiving team or it is legally touched by the kicking team, meaning the ball has gone 10 yards and either touched the ground or a receiving player. So make sure that we wind the clock and then stop the clock on instances where we have a quick recovery or a quick cover-up of the football. You can't stop the clock if it was never actually started. So there, when the kicking team legally touches that ball, the game clock should start and then stop immediately upon the ball becoming dead. So here the ball has gone 10 yards, touched the ground, so K is eligible to recover this. And when they touch it legally, wind your arm and then stop the clock. In play number 3, we're going to have a kickoff, and based on the previous play, the kicking team can legally recover the ball if it goes 10 yards and touches the ground or an R player, and those things can happen in any order to be legal. And here we're going to have a short kick over toward the linesman's side of the field, and the ball is going to hit the ground, bounce up, and the kicking team player is going to make a recovery. Remember, this is a kick, so the kicking team can recover the ball legally, but they are not able to advance it. So good job here by the officiating crew recognizing this, blowing the play dead up on the recovery of the football, and awarding K a 1st down at the recovery spot. Camera angle is very far away here, but the recovery is going to occur around the 36-yard line. And the player does continue to run for about an additional 10 yards, but the officiating crew is blowing this play dead and shutting this play down when K legally recovers the football. Remember, the kicking team is not able to advance a ball that's still in kick status. They can recover it, but they are not able to advance it. So nice job here by the crew recognizing this and awarding K a first down around the 36-yard line where the recovery was made. In play number 4, we are going to have a good false start call made by the referee, as the player in the backfield is going to miss the snap count and leave his position just a little early prior to the snap. This is good to shut this play down. If in your judgment the offensive player misses the snap count, go ahead and blow the play dead, throw the flag, and call it a dead ball false start. So nice job here officiating by the referee. If you notice here, he is going to leave just a little bit early. In play number 5, anytime we have a question on who has recovered the football, we always want to signal direction. It lets the players know, the coaches know, your fellow crewmates know, and even the spectators know who has recovered the ball. So here's an example where a signaling of direction of possession would have been very helpful. We have a fumble, and not sure who really has it. We're stopping the clock, which is okay as long as there's a change of possession, which I assume there is here. So let's just make sure that we are signaling direction on any type of these plays. Even if the offensive team would have recovered this, you can still signal direction, or obviously just give the next down, which would be third. But since we have a stoppage, this tells us that we are going to have a change of possession, but just signal in that direction. As you can see, most of the players on the defensive side of the ball were signaling. So as covering officials, we always want to signal. In play number 6, we are going to be looking at a 5-person crew. And here we know with the snap at the 39-yard line that the back judge is going to have goal line coverage. This is where it's very beneficial to have 6 or 7 persons on your crew, as we get better coverage on the deep sidelines and the goal line pylon. But this is a nice job here by the linesman and the back judge making eye contact, the back judge yielding to the linesman to make sure he is not going to stop the clock for the player stepping out of bounds prior to crossing the goal line, and making that eye contact, and then the back judge will go up with the touchdown signal. So nice job here by the crew officiating this play. But plays like this, once again, shows that it's so beneficial to have that extra 6th or 7th person on your crew for coverage. Because this play could have turned into being really, really close at the goal line pylon, at the sideline goal line intersection, and it would have been very beneficial in a 6-person crew. We would have had someone right on that pylon on this play. But this crew does a nice job officiating this with 5-person coverage. In play number 7, we are going to be talking about the goal line extended. Now, this rule in high school is different than what it is in the NFL. I'm not sure about the college rule, but for a player to get the extended goal line outside of the pylon, the player must be touching inbounds if the ball breaks the plane of the goal line on the outside of the pylon toward the out of bounds area. If the player is airborne, the ball must go inside the pylon. The rule book will tell you that when the pylon is properly placed, it is out of bounds in the end zone. So if the football in player possession would make contact with the pylon, airborne or not, then we would have a touchdown. So this is a play that occurred, and this is very close, but the official is in good position. It does appear that the player is touching inbounds, and it's hard to tell where the ball actually crosses, if it goes inside or outside the pylon. But if the player is touching inbounds, that goal line extends indefinitely in the out of bounds direction. It's called the goal line extended. And this player is touching inbounds with his foot there. It's hard to tell if the ball crosses inside or outside, but by touching in the field of play, it doesn't matter where that ball goes in relation to the pylon. If it crosses the sideline while the player is touching inbounds, that goal line extends into the out of bounds area, making this a touchdown. In play number 8, we are going to have good goal line coverage by both the back judge and the field judge. And if both officials are on or near the goal line, you want to go ahead and both signal touchdown in a play scenario like this, because it looks kind of crazy if one official is standing on the goal line signaling touchdown and another official is within 5 yards of the goal line and not signaling touchdown. So once again, something very simple mechanic, but as you can see here, it looks very good. The officials are in great position, waiting on the player to break the plane of the goal line. In play number 9, we are going to have a foul here that was not called by the officiating crew, primarily the referee. This is helping the runner, and this must be called. This play was actually sent to me by a head coach when he was scouting his opponent for the following week. And he had sent me a text asking, how did the officials not call this? And the coach was exactly right. Anytime you make direct contact on the ball carrier by pushing or pulling to assist his forward progress, this is helping the runner. We must call this. In the NFL, this is legal with the Philadelphia Eagles tush push and all that, but in high school football, this act is illegal and it must be penalized. You're going to see the up back make direct contact on the quarterback and push him and assist his forward progress into the end zone. This is an unfair act. This is a foul, and it needs to be penalized in all circumstances. In play number 10, we are going to have a try for point, and we are going to have a defensive lineman hurdle an offensive lineman. Now, this may be one of the slowest hurdles that I have seen on video, but this is still a hurdle by definition because the player is attempting to leap over his opponent by leading with his foot or knee foremost over his opponent. when his opponent has no part of his body touching the ground other than one or both feet. So the crew does a nice job here of penalizing this correctly. This is a personal foul, and with this kick attempt being good, then the kicking team would have the option to move the ball half the distance and replay, possibly go for two, or they can have the 15-yard penalty enforced on the kickoff. In play number 11, we're going to have a touchdown play and a nice touchdown catch and good coverage by the covering official in the end zone. But one thing we want to look at is when the touchdown is scored, we want to make sure that we do not turn our back to any players. We want to observe the dead ball action. We can still go ahead and signal touchdown, but keep your head on a swivel and observe the players who are laying now out of bounds. We do not want to turn our back to those individuals. So good coverage here, catch with the 1 foot, signals touchdown, but you do not want to turn your back to these two as they are laying there on the ground. In play number 12, this is one thing that we need to work better on statewide. We need to make sure, as stated in the earlier presentation, that once the ball is legally touched on a free kick, we must start the game clock. If we have an immediate recovery of the football, then you can go ahead and stop the clock. But the clock has to start on free kick plays when the ball is legally touched, either by the receiving team or the kicking team. I want to thank everyone for watching this week's videos. I hope everybody has good games this week, safe travels, and once again, thank you for what you do for high school officiating across the state of West Virginia.